How hard is it to come up with original idea, or could you just do what Tarantino says and steal? Because great artists steal.
Well, Tarantino is a very avid watcher of movies. So him saying that his ideas were fully original would be a bit rich because his whole life he was watching movies and ingesting other people's content.
Mm.
Yeah, working at a video store, he was watching movies. He always references other movies. He can talk about movies. He's well versed in other people's movies. So by osmosis, that's how he got the good stuff in. Obviously, his taste and filter is what makes him an artist. But come on, like you cannot say you're not copying others if all you do is watch others do something. And there's nothing bad about copying others, to be honest. Great
I
artists
mean,
steal.
we call it inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. It's
You know,
so inspiration. Right. The first thing I want to talk about is there's this trend on YouTube popping up, which is recreating existing film shots in Blender or After Effects at no budget at all. So you will see a video that's like, oh, Dune spent $19 million on this shot, and I did this over the weekend in my house in After Effects in Blender. And there's quite a bit of critique in the VFX industry that this trend undermines the work of the real artists. So if you think about it, it's very straightforward to make a copy of somebody else's work. It's the original that was hard. And what these people that recreate a shot of Star Wars don't understand is that they are recreating a working shot that has been through the process of 10,000 iterations, notes from directors, notes from designers, notes from everybody around it. And we just see the finished product. And basically, it's like taking a sheet of paper and putting in a copy machine, right? Obviously, it's so easy to copy something when you have the recipe. But the original movies are coming out of this recipe, right? So I think this is a really good discussion to have in the current AI world. Like, what is originality? So what do you think about this, then?
it's like I said, like think about, let's take Star Wars as a great example. It was one of the most mind-bending things when it first came out. Like, didn't George Lucas say, what is it? He went, it's a space opera. You know, to come up with that space opera and all the stories and the politics and the intricacies of this world. And then some guys like, yeah, cool, I did the whole thing on my PC at home over the weekend. It's like, I get the argument, what you're saying, like, okay, accessibility has got there, you know, it's become more accessible to create these things. But you said it perfectly. You're taking a cookie cutter that's already been cut 1,000 times before, especially Star Wars. Dune, I mean, come on, how many Nisa Al Gaib TikToks have we seen? So I get the point of accessibility, but I think the angle of attacking the VFX and film industry isn't founded, because it's like, well, yeah, cool. Yeah, you just copied what we did over a few months. Can you come up with something completely original by yourself and crack on with it? Can you come up with a sandworm and ride it, and how to do that shot, how to light that shot, how to do the physics of that shot? That, I just think it's beating your chest for the wrong reason, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like seeing something original where I don't appreciate modern art. So for me, if somebody sticks a banana to a painting, puts it in Tate Modern and sells it for $5 million, I don't resonate with that.
What was
However,
organic? What was an organic banana? It was just
like that's a completely different situation, you know. But what I do understand is somebody is first to do this. And if somebody was first to do this, that was the original idea, there is some kind of praise for it, right? Because somebody was daring enough to do this, maybe. Somebody was thinking it's something that actually gets people talking, right? Like it starts discussions. Is this art? Is this not art? Like, so it does evoke some emotions in people. But every subsequent iteration, if somebody takes a banana and sticks it on the painting, it's not the same thing. It's worth nothing. It's worth less, right? Because that's not the original idea. So yes, if you take somebody's idea, you can recreate it, but that doesn't give it value because it's not original.
Also, like, I was just thinking that let's talk about how we learn and how our brain comes to problem solving. How many YouTube tutorials have you watched to learn a specific thing to do on Premiere Pro? Like me,
Like,
hundreds.
tons.
Yeah, great. But that serves that one purpose of a problem you know you have. So this guy, how would he now approach coming up with something without a reference point? All right. No, but not just the idea, but the actual technical intricacies of doing this thing. Because I myself, like, if I want to sort my audio out, I know all the plugins on Audio Track Mixer I need to do. But if I come across a problem, I don't have the skills to go, well, I understand that completely. No, to understand what it does so that I can work out a problem, how to do it. No, I'm going to Google it again and find out, has anyone else had this problem? Can I do it? But we lack that initial curiosity or at least knowledge to fix a problem without a reference point. You know, makes sense. It's like I don't know lots about audio, so I'm gonna ask someone on YouTube. Same reason people know about ChatGPT on our phones. Are we actually losing a bit of our? Are we losing a bit of our brain cells, our synapses that helps us come up and fix a problem rather than going to a reference point? So on that whole other side of it, can that person who did Dune over a weekend come up with something original, but then have the skills to do it without a reference point? So it's copying a concept and copying a method. You know, it reverts backwards. So that's my thinking, if that made any sense.
Yeah, that was a bit of a ramble, but I do see where you're coming from. And this is so prevalent in every industry that you see somebody else's work and you say, I could do that. So I think somebody summed up modern art to this as well, saying modern art is, I could do that, plus, but you didn't. And that is the whole concept of original movies and seeing an effect in the cinema for the first time. You know, first 3D movie, mind blowing. Yeah. Anything afterwards, eh. So, like, if it's a gimmick that serves the story, obviously it makes sense. But if it's a gimmick for the gimmick's sake, you know, people are going to copy it. Like, you can see the trends in advertising. That's a perfect, I think, example in the very adjacent industry, which is how many times we would be making an ad for a client and say, oh, I've seen this sick shot from this ad and then this sick shot from that ad. And we really discount how somebody had to come up with this idea and a contraption that they made to this. And like Apple commercials, right? Like we go, oh, let's do this Apple-esque thing.
Stop quoting me from our time together working together, because that's literally what I'd say to you. Mik, I saw a really cool idea. How can we copy it? You know, it's like, yeah.
Exactly. And we don't have anything, you know, but that discounts the work. The artists, the authors, the people that get paid the big bucks are the people that not only are hard to copy, but these are the people that come up with something original or fresh, right? Like the first Transformers movie, we can say, was right now, looking back, because we've seen so many of them, we got really adjusted and accustomed to this level of detail. But if you actually think about when it was released, the complexity level of the Transformers, the movements, the millions of parts for each robot.
The mix with the real life VFX explosions and tracking that into a robot, yeah.
It was insane, right? And Michael Bay, again, people make fun of Bayhem, but he has got his own visual language that other people copied, right? Like all the parallax movements, all the stuff that one thing twists one way and then the camera, exactly. All of these shots came from him. And if somebody else does this, they're like, oh yeah, you're doing Michael Bay things. Like, yeah, but it is a style. It is a style that's called
the Wes
Bayhem.
Anderson, you know?
Exactly.
That was a social trend that went on for fucking ages.
So you can do Wes Anderson style thing, but it's not Wes Anderson and it's not the same thing as him doing it for the first time. Okay, so let's go to the next one. I think it's a really good thing about like copying and executing stuff. Maybe just to switch gears a little bit to the industry. What I found very interesting is that there is a film in China. I don't want to butcher the name, but it's like Ne Chat 2, which has grown. Okay. This Chinese movie that most people in the West have never heard about has made more money just in China than all of the Western releases worldwide in the last probably 2-3 years. It made $1.8 billion in China, which just highlights how big of a market Chinese film market is. It's insane that a movie, again, completely unseen and unknown in the West can be so popular. And that maybe highlights that maybe it's not a problem of cinema worldwide, but it might be a problem of Western cinema that some movies are not performing. Maybe we should... Yeah, it might be the thing that maybe the Chinese box office is going to behave completely differently to the box office here in the West.
I'm going to use my mum as example here. Please don't jump in there at any point. So this is something that I've been seeing a lot of. And so, yes, when I was an artsy little film student, I was watching everything European. I was watching French New Wave. I was watching Italian neorealism because it was stories that I've never been used to before, or stories I've never heard of, or I was like, oh, this is so new and interesting and fresh. And I still do it now. Like I love it when, I see a foreign film in the running for the Oscars or BAFTAs, and I will go and watch all of them because these are stories that I have no attachment to, no reference point, but to me it's completely new and completely like this whole new world. So on that, I got my mother Netflix, right, and a few other apps you can watch. Do you know what my mother's most watched series are? And there's 6 or 7 of them that she watches religiously back to back, week on week, like Monday this one. Korean dramas. She literally ingests so much K-drama, but every time she speaks about it, she's always like, oh my God, this new story. Oh my God, this, she keeps saying, the stories are not like anything I've ever listened before. The complexities, the characters, she's like, she's like, she's got this whole new world that she's been adapting and she loves it. And literally now, because we share an account, I can see her watching habits. And it's literally K-drama, K-drama, K-drama. Every week, Dimitri, I found a new K-drama. And I think you're right. I think with the West, we've just so got used to everything coming out. It's either an action, it's either it's a thriller, it's a this, it's that. Me?
You coming out.
There we go. Nice. Ruin my flow there. Stop. But we've got so used to stuff coming out of the West that our field of vision is like this,
Yeah.
But all around the world, it's more like that because they not only ingest their own content, they're ingesting Western content as well. So if anything, they've got a plethora of content where we're just so narrow-minded. Wasn't it like Bong Joon-ho said at the Oscars, if you can just get past a tiny 3-centimeter text in the bottom of your screen, your world is opened up to whole new stories. And I think China's done it perfectly well. They've clearly made a film that is grossing hugely and with a whole new audience that we haven't heard of, and we won't go and watch. How many people do you know are going to go watch a Chinese animation film?
Yeah. And that's something that actually has been prevalent in the last couple of years. If you think about Parasite winning the best movie, it's a Korean film, and it's because it's fresh to us. It feels different. It's so meticulously made. Like every single shot has been planned out. This beautiful book with the storyboard from it. And then you have Squid Game, which also blew everything out the water because it was so different. The acting is different. The stakes, the story is unpredictable. It's fresh. And I think Hollywood and the box office and the film industry is just suffering from the fact that there's not that many fresh new ideas that get funded. So everybody's kind of boo-hooing AI being a copy-paste generator. But I'm like, don't you think that the studios are copy-paste generators? I checked out of curiosity. And overwhelming percentage of movies that make any decent amount of money in box office in the last 10 years is sequels or franchises.
It's safe.
Yeah. And I'm like, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. You cannot say that, oh no, people don't go to the movies and, people don't want original content and then not make any original content. The studios are trying to spin this in a way, saying oh, people don't go to cinema, poor us, the industry is dying because of that. But they're not even trying. And then us as audiences are doing the same thing, really, which we say we want original movies, but we only show up to franchises and only show up to sequels. So everybody on both sides...
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I haven't been to cinema in a long while. But having said that, I will probably go to see Avatar 3. And Avatar 3 with I don't know how it works, but it's not a movie that anybody is really remembering or waiting for. But this is going to be the movie that's going to, again, cross $2.5 billion easy. It's probably going to gross more than 1 and 2 before. Like, there's just no reason for it. But I don't know what it is. I don't remember anything from 1 or 2, but I want to go and see 3. I don't know. There's just maybe 1 or 2 movies a year that I'll see. And Avatar 3 is going to be one of those movies. Don't know why.
So you're not going to watch New Fast and Furious when it comes out then?
I do. I haven't seen the last one. Well, since I had the baby, so I'm just completely different
Out of the loop.
demographic right now.
I like what you said there, like studios shifting the spotlight. So let's talk about that. So industry's dying because of AI and short attention spans and streaming and all that's like. But you're right. Like I would if an original film came out. I would be at cinema to watch it. Honora, $5 million budget, $15 million though marketing budget for the Oscar run. So let's not that. But I think the industry is just looking for scapegoats. It's looking for scapegoats because they don't want to take a risk. They don't want to put a film out. It's A24 were doing it a few years ago. With Good Time and Uncut Gems. I was like, fuck, this is great. And
was your mom in one of the A24 movies?
Hold on, where are you going with this? Hold on, I can put this together. The Whale. Such a kid. But yeah, do you know what I mean? Like it's actually really infuriating, and I'm getting really sad because on the weekend I was with my girlfriend, and we're in town in Stratford, and I was like, we've got the car.
Here we go. I have a girlfriend. Nobody has seen her. She goes to another school. She's Canadian.
She's French. But I was like, let's go to the cinema. And we went like a cheap cinema. We'll go to View, $7.99 VIP tickets. Fine. There was nothing really last thought, even on a whim just to kill the evening. I was like, there's nothing here I want to watch. I'd rather go home and just have a select of what I really want to watch. Do you know what I mean? And I was really annoyed by this. And I kept thinking back to, I forget the filmmaker name who won an Oscar 2 years ago. He's like, stop giving $200 million budgets to one film. Give $1 million budget to 200 people. Give $10 million budgets to 20 people. Like, yes, I'm actually getting really pissed off now because I'm like, I want the industry to do better, but the industry has to want to do better. And I'm like, what do I have to do as a viewer, as an audience member?
There is a problem. Yeah. There is a big problem with this, unfortunately, which Matt Damon highlighted in one of the interviews. I think it was the Hot Ones. He broke it down saying that there is a death of cinema in the middle because you either need to make a blockbuster where you invest $200 million, then you invest $150 in marketing, and you're going for $1 billion box office so you can basically break even and make $100 million. I know these are big numbers, but for these studios, there's 10,000 people involved in this. And then you have small movies that are shot on no budget, like $1 million, $5 million. They get shown at Sundance Film Festival. Somebody buys it, and then they can make a small theatrical run and, again, break even, make a couple $1 million. And then making $2 million as a small investor, it's like if you make $2 million profit on your $7 million investment, that's good return, right? But everything in the middle and like the comedies that we used to love, the Seth Rogen type of thing, there's no real market for it because if you spend $50 million on a movie, which is like that, in the middle, and then you need to spend additional 50 on marketing, suddenly to break even, you need to make over $200 million in box office. And it's a risk because most people nowadays are going to be like, well, I'll just wait till it's on Netflix. So the only studios that can actually do that are the streamers. And if they shoot the same movie and put it straight on Netflix, it's a win-win. They don't have to share with theaters. They just get the money from subscriptions.
Roadhouse, I'm going to say, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea where a director was like, I'm going to shoot it on IMAX. Apple was like, yeah, go for it. Amazon is like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. Oh, we're not going to do a theatrical release like we promised. Well, I'm going to boycott it. Did he fuck? Like you saw the video. He went straight to that cinema, and then it went straight to Amazon and watched it. And it's
But with
in,
AI, I think we can actually translate this because this got very specific to the industry. But we can very clearly translate this to advertising, business, and anybody who's thinking about this and AI, because this is where the industry is going to go in real world as well. That be detached from Hollywood, the La La Land. There's going to be cheap commercials, like you just said. You went to the store in Westfield and you saw ads behind the counter. They're just a collection of random shots in the shoes, in the sports attire, whatever it needs to be, a beautiful model. That stuff is going to be done by AI. There's no reason to organize a shoot for £10,000 to get, some screens that nobody really cares what's about. Nobody really cares what's in them. So AI is going to take over the lower end of production up to like high mid end. And then there's only going to be the big ads that are done by auteurs that have like a celebrity attached, where you're really riding the coattails of, oh, this is Idris Elba and Emma Watson doing like promoting something for a specific UK audience.
This is Wes Anderson and his H&M advert, his Stella Artois advert. Yeah.
Like, because again, people, when it comes to ads, people care about who is in the ad more than what the ad looks like. Case in point, Super Bowl ads. Kanye West, he spent, I don't remember, like $7 or $15 million on a spot at Super Bowl. And his ad, so imagine you have like Ford showing the new pickup truck, whatever, like it's a super high quality ad.
Bill Murray's in it, doing all his Bill Murray-esqueness in the advert. Yeah,
and they spent millions on this. And then you have high quality ad, another high quality ad, another high quality ad. Nobody cares. And suddenly you have Kanye's ad, which is him on his phone in a completely low light situation in a car. And it's just like, look, I just spent millions of dollars on this ad, so I don't have a budget to actually do this. Everybody go to Yeezy.com and buy yourself new shoes dropping today, buy. And that's the ad. And this drove so many conversions, and love them or hate them. KSI and Logan Paul did the same thing with Prime. They shot an ad that looked like a YouTube video rather than an ad for a Super Bowl commercial. The purpose of this is to stand out, because if everybody's doing high quality stuff, you should be doing something different. And again, this is going to be a market of authentic or low budget or AI. And then on the higher end is going to be just, if somebody has an amazing idea they can attach Tom Cruise to, that's going to be the ad, and advertising is going to separate. There's going to be nothing in the middle, because what's the point?
So the middle is dead.
Like, what's the point of spending 100K on a commercial right now if you cannot get a recognizable face?
No point. No. It's pointless.
There's no ROI on this.
Interesting.
I can make you a better commercial that's going to objectively, I think I can say this right now with a straight face.
Straight?
I know it's hard for me, but with AI, I can shoot, prompt, make will into existence, an ad that's going to be 10 times more visually impressive than anything that you can shoot for under $1 million.
Cool. I mean, I would argue with you, but didn't I do the exact same thing 6 months ago when I made a fake Dior perfume advert? Yeah.
Because if you think about, let's say you wanted to show some kind of a stunt involving multiple cars, stuntmen, people, and explosion for $1 million. There's going to be like 2 shots, right? With so many people involved. And what you shoot, that's what you get, right? With AI, you can do this in a few prompts. You're going to spend maybe, if you really want to nail it, you can spend $200 on your credits and have 5,000 generations. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they're going to be photorealistic. They're going to be like almost pixel perfect.
But I think the argument there is then advertising does rely on famous faces, but when it doesn't, it's not about the people and the human behind it. That's the advertising, yeah, great. So yeah, for that lower end stuff where you don't need a person, you want a product, yeah, cool, we talk about the AI is going to rule the way, because what the fuck why would I pay that? Speaking of famous faces, do you want us to talk about voices?
Let's go.
Voices. So there is arguments now. This thing called Deep Editor. Basically, a Swedish company made a independent film, and they needed to release it in the US market. But let's be real, in the US market, they're not going to. It's not saying quotes for America, but they're not going to go and watch a Swedish film in independent cinema, or at least the viewing. They would. The audience is there, but the viewership is going to be much less than a general domestic release. So this Swedish company put their full feature film through an app where they redubbed the entire film in English using the actors' voices reference and actually using a wireframe module on their face in post to then mimic mouth movements. So it syncs perfectly. So now we're in a world where we can redub anything we want in any language to now approach a new market. As we know, YouTube's been doing this for years. Mr. Beast does it, doesn't he? He's been redubbing all his videos so he can hit the Asian market. Fair play. Get the views in, get the money. But now on a higher level, in the cinema, you are now watching a redubbing and a facial reconstruction. What's your thoughts?
For me, it's very interesting. I have quite a few friends doing dubbing back in Poland. They're actors who have done thousands of episodes of different kids series, animations, and even Marvel movies. So I know about some contracts that they have had to either sign or not, because some of them decided not to sign them, where they were requested to provide a voice dubbing for a game for one of the big studios. And one of the stipulations of the contract was that your voice is going to become the global voice for this character, which means that we're going to pay you your Polish rate for recording, which is very low. Like, it's in the realm of, under $1,000, let's say, or $1,000. And then they're going to use AI to generate that same voice in all of the other languages, which obviously some actors didn't take because they were like, this is insulting. But what happens is that you need to pay your bills. So if you don't take it, somebody else, the next person will. And that's it. So let's be real. I have seen the Mr. Beast videos dubbed into other languages. I have also grown up with dubbed versions of movies. So when I watch Lion King right now with my son, I know all of the songs and I know everything in Polish. So for me, it's a little bit of a cognitive dissonance that this is not the same voice that I heard from the past. And having that experience, I would actually say that I prefer the AI dubbing to happen, because then it's going to be the consistent same voice in every language for everyone. It's going to be consistently the same performance, because it's not the same performance if you watch Squid Game in Korean and you watch Squid Game in English. It's not the original actor's performance anymore. Like, the voice is completely different. The inflections are completely different. It doesn't hit the same way. Koreans scream more as they speak. They're way louder, way punchier. Squid Game in English is really not that great. But if you could maintain the level of their voices, if you could maintain a lot of that and put it in English, I think it would actually be pretty cool. And subtitles are a bit of a distraction. Like, I watch right now stuff with subtitles because my wife just prefers to, like, sometimes the dialogue in the movies nowadays
it's quick as well.
But it's also not intelligible. Like, the mixing is not that great because some directors like Christopher Nolan just don't want you to hear anything. And I actually think this is good for the industry. I am sorry for everyone who's going to lose a dubbing job, but this is just coming for you and there's no stopping that train. And I think creatively, if you can preserve the original actor's performance as much as possible, including their voice, as long as the actors are compensated fairly, they're entered the agreements knowing that this is what's going to happen, I am all for it. I think this is better. I would prefer, when I will eventually, I don't know, dub my YouTube videos, I would prefer for this to be my voice being dubbed into somebody else's language rather than having an actor redo what I'm doing. So that is, honestly, the bad thing about this is on the shady contract shit going on, but also using the wireframes to make it more seamless. It's better. It's a win-win-win. As long as it's done transparently, it's a win for the audience, and the audience is the most important.
In that case, I think I'd like to see how unions are approaching the AI topic in contracts, in representation, because realistic, I think the problem is, right, and I agree, everything you said, I agree. I 100% agree with, I've watched loads of subtitle stuff growing up as well, and you and I both know that also some words don't translate, for what your magical swear word in Polish is that everyone knows has a million different meanings, but sometimes when you watch it, it's in the wrong place being used. My girlfriend who's in French, she's like, actually, she went, that doesn't mean what that text says technically. So like you are losing out, definitely. But this asks a broader question now of like what you said, the contract stuff. Unions are going to have to fight more, saying, okay, we need to get paid our actors better, pay residuals better. At the end of the day, what I find quite sad about our industry is there's always going to be someone who's going to do it, like you said. So is this now more of a global thing? Is this if governance can have to get involved, saying, okay, if you're going to use someone's likeness, you've got to pay it. But it's it's not going to go that way. They think it's so.
You cannot put the genie back in the bottle. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You cannot stop the tech. AI is like there are very few examples of tech that has been successfully contained to only be used by certain industries, like nuclear power. Nuclear power takes so much investment, years of investment, sourcing material, refining the material. Like you can look at Iran, like how long it's been taking them, and still nowhere closer because they got bombed. And that's only one of the few examples of tech that hasn't been replicated somewhere else. And the problem with AI and unions is their absolute delusion that they can control something. It doesn't matter what you do in America, because in China, they will just go and fuck your copyright. Like, nobody cares about copyright there. Why do you think the Chinese models like Kling suddenly were so insanely good at producing videos compared to the ones in the US and Europe? Why do you think that a lot of the visual models were not released in European Union? It's such a pain. For the last 2 years, it was so painful to me when I'm developing an AI platform and the new model drops and I really want to attach it to my platform, but I can't because I am in Europe, and continental Europe prevents a lot of models from being used because of the potential copyright issues. So Europe can say whatever they want. UK can say it. US can say it. We can have unions. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to train a model on copyrighted material, they just will. If there is a tool that gives you that possibility of dubbing into another language, like somebody's just going to do it in a different country. So you might as well try to figure out a solution which is not sticking your head in the sand and being like, oh, let's pretend AI doesn't exist. Or it's not like, let's fight the corporations. You're not going to win. This tech is already out there. It's already, anybody can use it. And somebody's going to make a fun edit of a film that's already dubbed into another language. Like, you just need better contracts and ideally, unfortunately, change your job, because dubbing is not going to be a profession anymore if you can just do it with tech. Okay, let's move on to, speaking of tech, I would love to just mention real quick the Genie 3 release from Google, which, again, this is something that creators are going to have a really hard time with. People need to start looking at the trends and how quickly, it's not only about how quickly this stuff is progressing, but there is an acceleration of the rate of progress, which means that every release of a new technology is happening quicker and quicker and earlier than before. Like, imagine the jump that we had between the ChatGPT 3 that released, and I was like, oh, that was really cool. And then GPT 4 that dropped like 6 months later. That was a big step.
Runway, when it first came out, you and I were like, oh, and then a year later, we're Gen 2 video.
Exactly. A couple of years ago, it was, you could maybe somehow create a one image. It would take a couple of minutes. It would have an image that kind of looked like a human. A couple of months later, like almost a year later, you could have photorealistic humans. Still takes 2 minutes per image. So people were like, video is not possible to have 25 images per second. Suddenly, video models come out, and then video models get better and better and better. And it's now a progress of every 3 months, every 2 months, every month now we have a new model release. VO3 dropped literally in June of this year, which was a massive leap of talking characters that are now used in commercials that air on TV. And now in August, they dropped Genie 3, which is, it's not just one image per minute. It's not 25 images generated in a couple of minutes. It's 25 images generated every second in real time, which is like playing an interactive game that maintains the world that you're in. This is groundbreaking. So if any creative or any person cannot see the progress and where this is going, if you are like, oh, we're years away from that tech. No. Look in the past. The release timeframes are shorter and shorter and shorter. You will see VO4 probably end of this year, beginning of next year. VO5 next year, 100%. So if this is only going to get better, like so much better every time, and this gets to real time, and you can explore, imagine this as a director. You have a story in your head, and you can just prompt it and then start exploring that world and be like, okay, let's put this character here. And they start talking. And it's like, you are inside of this world. Like this whole metaverse suddenly is going to become photorealistic. Like
the Matrix.
It unlocks a whole new medium of possibilities. And I find it so impressive. It's very scary. It's very scary, especially for creatives, because like I said, you just need to keep up with it. There's no way to stop this. And this tech is only going to get better. It's only going to be more and more indistinguishable from reality. And at the speed of delivery, nobody's going to wait for you to produce an ad for 100K that you're going to take 6 months to produce. People are going to be like, I want this now, and I have $100. That's where the industry is going.
So let's not think about end goals for this type of product, right? So my brain always goes to, how can we commercialize this and make money off it? Okay, let's leave ads for a second. All right. Do you remember the 2001 Minority Report film directed by Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Do you remember there was a scene where people go to a space to and essentially live in any world they've fantasized about in real time and instantly? My Black Mirror brain went straight to that as you're speaking. Imagine this model gets amazing. It gets to become real time, generative off your thoughts and off your prompts or whatever you give it. Where do you think there'd be a world now? Do you really think like we are almost at that sci-fi dystopian world of like Blade Runner, Minority Report, where you and I can go in this little cafe in 20 years time, plug ourselves into a VR headset and genuinely actually live a world in real time like the Matrix? I'm being a bit grand here, but I'm just thinking where this stuff could go.
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, that's not a 20-year option. If you have a real-time thing right now, think about the game engines can do it already. So it's now the question of how real can we really make it.
Yeah.
And I think the problem right now is the human element becomes the problem. How do we convey our thoughts about what we want to happen next in real time? Because we are slow. Like typing is so slow compared to how quickly computer can actually process information.
Neuralink.
Exactly. So when we can actually connect like a human brain interface, that's probably 15, 20 years away. But in terms of us entering a world that's generated in real time, indistinguishable from reality, and you can get lost in it, our brains are so good at filling out the gaps that I think we're just a couple of years away, to be honest. Honestly, this is possible right now with cutting edge tech. And it's about illusion, like films. It's about selling people good enough illusion
Yeah.
of the world, right? Like people right now get psychosis from just talking to ChatGPT. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's just talking to a free model that's not even that good anymore. And they treat it like a friend. So yeah, people will get lost in this kind of like VR situation.
And then what's the end goal? Like, I often think about when I think about tech, it's when I think about the end goal, the when is the pinnacle? So I think was it you that told me years ago that we're talking about TVs. You and I are talking about TVs and how good they're getting. We went from 720 to 1080 to 4K. Isn't there a point where we in this future where a TV would be made that we've hit the pinnacle because we've matched the resolution of our eyes. Okay. So that means beyond that, you got to stop because there literally is no point because we can't distinguish the difference. Wow, taking that concept of reaching the pinnacle, do you think there's that sort of level within AI, within AI Gen, for example? Like, what happens when we get to the point where, okay, you've won your bet. We can make a feature film in 30 seconds and it looks amazing. You can't tell that it's been real life. What then?
Well, we're gonna get into a dystopian future. Let's be honest. Most jobs, and I don't know. I don't like to be a doomer, but I am a little bit of a doomer when it comes to AI because I work with this tech so closely, and I see what's possible with this tech right now, and I'm extrapolating this into the future. We have 2 years. We have 2 years right now to make money and to secure any type of lives for ourselves that we want. Because after 2 years, most jobs are going to start disappearing, which means that if there's like some universal basic income, if there is something to support people, what do people do when they don't need to work anymore or where they struggle? What do unemployed people do? They try to find other dopamine hits when you lose purpose in life. So people start drinking, doing drugs, people game a lot, right? Like gaming.
Spiral.
Yeah, but gaming is a perfect example where people can spend 8 hours, 16 hours straight locked into some kind of a world. So if you give people a VR headset that's good enough, that's indistinguishable from reality, people are just going to sit in that world because the world outside is going to be less attractive to them. That's why people in Japan have
Yeah.
problems with babies because the guys prefer to talk to their anime girlfriends. And if an anime girlfriend is good enough already for a lot of guys to not talk to real women, then obviously a world that's going to be whatever you want, whenever you want, whatever you want. Right now, that can give you happiness. You're going to choose that because that's the line of least resistance. Like, why would you go outside in the real world and try to accomplish something and struggle and work hard to achieve your goals if you can just have this AI that's always going to love you, is going to give you no problems whatsoever. This is very apparent right now with the release of the new GPT-5. People hated it and people want
Its
the
tone.
because people are like, I made friends with GPT-4. Oh, we killed my friend. So this is happening. This has been happening in Japan. This is happening in the US right now. This is going to happen everywhere. So if AI takes a lot of the jobs from people, just again, don't take my word for it. Just look at the stats of the biggest companies. Look at Shopify. Shopify grew 90% of the revenue. So they made 90% more money, almost doubled their money that they're making. And they did this with 30% fewer employees. In that process, they fired 30% of their staff. Most companies are going to reduce the amount of employees and increase their revenues, right? So there's going to be fewer and fewer jobs. And this is sounding so bleak, I know, but
Pretty sad.
you need to be realistic about this, right? Fewer jobs. Filmmakers already, the industry is in the gutter and it's going to just get even worse, right? So these people are going to look for something to replace real life with, right? So it's not going to be drugs, it's going to be AI virtual realities, and that's going to be something. I think the world is going to become a little bit dystopian in places, and in places it's going to be just super prosperous. So Yeah, I think it's going to just screw with people really hard.
So on that note, then something I've been want to talk to you about for a while is you and I have been fortunate enough to grow up in a world where, like mobile phones, like tech, we saw before and we are there during the transition, and now we're kind of there in the after. So now with AI content, how do you feel about the idea that kids born today or in the last few recent years will be growing up with way more AI content than you and I ever we didn't get any really. No, we got none. You and I got the most in the next last 4 years. But this will be a common occurrence in their advertising, in their cartoons, in their games, potentially in their entertainment. So will that, I'm asking, do you think that will skew a child growing up in this current age is perspective of what is real and what is not, and how will that affect them?
I saw a talk from Gary Vee in the last couple of days where he talked about how most of us have seen an AI influencer that we didn't realize is AI influencer.
Wimbledon, remember Wimbledon, the big one?
Oh,
Do you hear
no.
about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, someone was posting made a fake Instagram. It got over 100,000 likes, and they were generating fake, like authentic, like Wimbledon shots of them in the crowd. And a very famous Indian cricketer captain liked it and then DM'd that account because they fell for it and thought it was real.
Yeah. Well, you see, so there are so many already AI influencers that are indistinguishable from reality. And in the next year or two, you're going to be served ads that you will not be able to tell that they are AI. And we're just going to be surrounded by this. So our perception of content needs to change dramatically. It used to be that AI was like a nice guessing game of, oh, is this AI? Oh, yeah, it is AI. It's so fun. Whereas now, this is going to be every single piece of content you're going to see on the internet, you're going to assume it's fake unless it has some kind of a watermark that says, no, this is real. So instead of counting on a watermark to say, oh, this is AI, it's going to flip. You're going to have stuff that needs to be validated as real. There's a new camera from Sony that was released recently that bakes into the file a watermark, a proof saying this is true original file captured on location. This is going to be crucial for news teams because you as a news station, imagine you're BBC, CNN, Fox, whatever, you're sourcing material. You've been sent a clip. Now, how do you verify that this is real? The only way to verify that this is real is if you have some kind of a system from Sony that's baked into the camera that you cannot hack that says this clip is real, it was captured on location. And
Time,
with that,
date, metadata. Yeah.
exactly. And with that, you'll be able to prove, okay, this has originated there. Every other clip that you receive as a journalist, you can throw out the window because there is no way to prove that this is or isn't AI. So it's going to be proving that this isn't
Real.
AI, or this is real, yes, rather than, oh, this is AI. There are so many clips right now going viral on TikTok or on Instagram. The bunnies hopping on a trampoline.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, that's so cute. And I was so disappointed this is AI. I was so disappointed. I don't want AI content to trick me to being this is real. I don't want to be tricked. And I would love for there to be a setting on TikTok or Instagram, on YouTube, where I could be like, do not serve me AI content. I only want verified real content. I want social media to be social. And unfortunately for my son, he's not going to grow up in this world. And my goal in life is to make enough money before we get into this world that you cannot really make real money. And then to probably separate him from social media or anything like that, because that's not going to be real. And to give him as many real life fun experiences, like, traveling into wilderness,
Playing baseball with dad.
Yeah, I love spending time with him like that. And I think that's the only way to actually do this, which is I used to work at this camp in the US called Echo Lake. And it was amazing because it was sending your kid for 7 weeks, which is great for parents, but also 7 weeks, no phones, no tablets. The only electronics that were allowed was an
Vibrators.
iPod. was an iPod with no screen, no videos, no internet access. And they would write letters to parents, and parents would write real letters, or I think they would just email and they would get printed out. But the point was there was no technology for 7 weeks, and the kids were just developing real social connections, and they would have to navigate real life skills with this. And that is the experience that I want for my child. And I don't think that, and it's just going to be unavailable online.
Sorry, you just had a bit of, I just had a thought. Do you know how Hollywood treats the rehab clinic?
Yeah.
The structure. Do you think that will be a place in the future for de-digitizing?
Oh, this is already a thing. Digital detox is already a thing. And
But I mean, so I know it is, but like on that, but on this, grander level of like a proper industry section. I know people do it now for like hikes. They do digital detox weekends with groups you can book. But I'm talking about like not one of pleasure, but one of necessity. Like someone's literally to the point where they can't get off their screen, where they have to be, in the UK, technically sectioned, or they have to be. That's really interesting. And that's something we should talk about another time, because I think there's a whole litany around that.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of like forced detox. But going back to your original point, by the time my son is a teenager, there's going to be no way to distinguish AI content from real content apart from actual baked in metadata that proves that something is real. And we would need to then evaluate what is the benefit of knowing that something is real or not. Because if it's entertainment, right now, like he likes to watch a movie for the story, and we watch movies for the stories, right? They're fake. So if something is fake, anyway, like watching Moana or watching Toy Story, you watch it to get lost in that fake world, and that's fine. As long as somebody's not pretending that something is real for their financial gain or just to trick you, I think it's fine.
In that case, speaking of what is real and what is fake, Mick, we have this week's Is It Real or Is It AI?
Oh, I thought you were going to put like our friendship on it. That's fake.
Oh no, that's fake as fuck. This is
Is this from the Irishman?
This is from arguably Tarantino's worst film. Like, I watched this in the cinema, and me and my friend, we both fell asleep. And
What is
then
that?
this is The Irishman. This is Robert De Niro, and
Oh, that's
this
a
is,
Netflix movie. Like it's like 3 hours and 40 minutes or something.
this should have been a series. This should not have been a film.
I cannot tell which one is. I think the one on the left is no, the one on the right is AI because they try to de-age him, right?
Correct. The one on the right is AI. The one on the left is real. So
Irishman is a perfect example of where this tech shines because doing that at the time that they produced Irishman, it costs tens of millions of dollars to
and multiple cameras.
Yeah, the production, tens of millions of dollars just to de-age them, such a waste of time and money. Now, you could accomplish the same thing at probably 2-3% of the cost, and that is where that money should go. Because those $10 million could have been spent on making another better movie.
There you go. I mean, I totally agree. I hate this film, but it's another example of where the money should be going. Like we spoke about VFX and Netflix a few weeks ago. We spoke about the Marvel piggy bank, which is VFX spending, and how the industry is getting inflated. But I think all this comes down to, I think film isn't quite dead yet. Well, it's not going to be dead, but it's dying in the right parts. It's the concept of our appendix. We had a use for it once and it's going. And I think that's how it should be treated. Where can we take away certain aspects to make the production better, but not the performances? Just coming back to our
Yeah, 100%. And I think that you can see this in tech, even on set, right? Like you require fewer and fewer people on set because of the tech getting better. You don't need multiple camera operators right now to operate one camera because everything gets streamlined. So yeah, I think you nailed it. Like this is a perfect statement to sum it up. as long as this tech is used in the right places for film, is going to make it thrive. And maybe this is the solution to Hollywood not dying.
Well, tune in next week to find out if Hollywood's still living. Has it lost a finger or a limb? Tune in next week to find out.
All right, that was a good one. See you,
Nice
bro.
one. Cheers.